Hello, this is VioletRain, your host for the Rebel Haven podcast, a show designed to inspire, educate, and empower our community of entrepreneurs that think differently. For as in the words of the great and late Steve Jobs, the ones who are crazy enough to think they can change the world are the ones that do.
Liftoff. We have a liftoff. 32 minutes past the hour. Liftoff on Apollo 11.
I have a dream that one day,
it's one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind.
What's up, badasses? Welcome to the Rebel Haven podcast. And today we are going to be talking about the value of indecision. So the inspiration for this podcast is coming off of a recent experience that I've been having with my wife. We have, for the last 4 years, been wanting to get a tattoo together. And we have been looking on Pinterest and researching and talking about it and planning and thinking about it for, like I said, a long time. And we never really were able to settle on anything enough to move forward with it. When we would call to tattoo shops, they were booked, 6 to 8 weeks out. And there was no flow around the direction of getting a tattoo. So we have had in our shop here in Vernal a tattoo artist for almost a year now, here in the building, and we still haven't moved forward on creating a piece and getting clear on what we really want. So we booked a consult. We did this consult with our tattoo artist, and it was really cool because just moving forward and booking the appointment, ideas started formulating and coming together in the consult. As we bounced ideas off of her, she kind of helped channel in a vision, and really quickly within 20 to 40 minutes, we had nailed down a direction and a vision. It was really cool. And so part of the guidance coming through that is the gift of indecision created us not moving forward on a tattoo, and then perfectly aligning and manifesting the perfect person to put the right intention and space for this twin flame tattoo that we've been envisioning. And the value in that is that we could have, I heard a story just the other day. Someone came in and said that they had just gotten a tattoo at the place we were going to go to originally, and that the tattoo artist had made fun of what they wanted to get on their body. And what they wanted to get on their body was a memorial tattoo for their father who had just passed away. And I thought, wow, what a harsh environment for this piece of art that you're going to have on your body forever. It's a very sacred experience. There's a lot of symbolism and meaning in the tattooing process. I mean, this is something that's been around forever. So because though we were in this indecision, it made space for the universe to come in and rearrange some elements for us to get clearer and clearer on what we want and where we wanted it and how we wanted it to feel. And it's been such a fun, exciting process to watch it unfold. So the way we can really bring this home into our lives is if there's something that you have been wanting to do, and maybe you have some story around it, oh, I haven't taken that trip yet, or I haven't gotten that tattoo yet, or I haven't, cut my hair yet, or whatever it is that you've been wanting to do, remodel that room in your house, and it hasn't happened yet. There's a gift in the indecision. And when you're thinking about that thing that you're wanting, framing it in that way, framing it in it's coming, it's on its way. Things are rearranging in the most enjoyable, delightful way possible. There have been multiple times through these last 2 months as we've been channeling in this tattoo together that it's been incredibly emotional for Keeli and I. It's been really emotional to feel it all come together. It's been a really beautiful, sacred experience. And that was made possible because of, and it's not necessarily about time passing, but space holding and the waiting and allowing an indecision to mean it's not time to make a decision yet. So that's the first gift that is inside of indecision. The second thing is, as we've actually been going through the tattoo process, I went first, and we're going to need probably 3 to 4 sessions each. Like, this is kind of an extensive process, and like 2 weeks of healing in between each round. And so I went on Sunday, and she's getting tattooed today, like at the time of me recording this. And so it's about a 4-day gap in between the sessions. And my session on Sunday, it was like the tattoo was placed, it was put on, or so much, like a few little tweaks. So many things were like a yes, yes. And then like we moved forward with it and we did it. And there was like a couple of placements, like one part of it specifically that I was like, maybe I'd like it up like a half an inch. But I started, like, I felt bad, or I was in a story or something once it was placed of like, oh, it's fine, it's good, I'll roll with it. Like, not wanting to put people out, or not wanting it to take longer, or just like moving forward, right? Like, what a metaphor that is for life, like how symbolic that is. If I take a look at that deeper to see like where else in my life does that show up, that I'm not going for exactly what I want, or I'm not feeling worthy, deserving, capable, or abundant enough to hold the standard for what it is that I'm ultimately wanting. Really interesting, right? And then, you know, and part of that is like inside of the tattoo process, sometimes you can overthink or overanalyze something. So I didn't want to do that. I wanted to like be in a lot of trust. So there was that component of it too, right? Like, you can frame it in any direction you want. One of the things that we're seeking is that balance between the aspects of the self, right? So as much as indecision can be a gift, if it's overly expressed, now it starts becoming a shadow. So it's seeing inside of everything that there's a gift, and inside of everything that there's a potential shadow, right? So like for me, the reframe I have now that this piece is permanently on my body is the positioning of where I wanted it shifted to. At the time, for me, it was an opportunity of a moment of trust and surrender, right? And framing it in that way and symbolically looking into it in that way. And then at the same time, as I'm watching my love get her tattoo placed and stenciled on today, she's being very specific, and like, we've had to wipe the stencil off and move it somewhere else and try positioning it this way and that way and all these things. And the most recent edit that she just did, it was like placed in a position. And Keely's like, no, I'm not sure. So the tattoo artist, Tawny, just wiped it off. And then it ended up going in the exact same position. But the gift, and this is what I want you guys to hear in the indecision, is now that it was wiped off and she had an extra second to think about it, to process it, to play around with some other positionings, now she's really sure. Now she's really sure. If she hadn't have had that indecision, where she went back and relooked over other possible options, she wouldn't be as sure and as clear now. So even for my tattoo, if I would have like at least explored the option or said something and tried it on, like moving it up 1.5 inches or something different, then I would have known, like after I would have seen where it was placed, or like heard what the tattoo artist said about like why we could or couldn't position it there, or what the vision was, then I would have been even more sure, if that makes sense. So moving forward in our lives, there is so many moments in our day-to-day lives where we are faced with decisions. And in those moments, we can really come to know ourselves, come to know our insecurities, our blocks, our hesitations, our saboteurs, as we see the way that we navigate towards more of what we do want, and away from what we don't want. So there is a beautiful opportunity to remove the judgment around a right or wrong with how you make decisions, and to sit in the observer's chair and to see that being in indecision or unclear doesn't have to mean what our programming often makes it means, that it's like it's bad, or this means you're stupid, or you don't know what you want. It means that you're not being called to act yet. It means that God, angels, universe are working out the details. It means that the cooperative components are being brought together and arranged for you, you know, in your behalf. And the more that we frame it that way and understand it that the way, that is what we will see and experience to be true. That is what you will manifest and create. But if you are believing the lie that you are broken or wrong, or it's messed up, that you're indecisive, or you're confused, or you're whatever, then you will create that to be your reality. My wife's indecision and preference around her tattoo is an inspiring metaphor. And there is an overexpression of that. There is an overexpression of indecision that can bog you down and sabotage you. There also is an overexpression of trusting and just going with the flow, right? In my case, I did just, if I ask for it to be moved somewhere different, that means I'm not trusting the flow or the organic unfolding. That's also a bullshit lie. It comes down to seeing that your mindset, the way you are talking about, interpreting, and framing your decision making determines the end result. So it's more important even than the decision you make is the energy you are making the decision in, and the energy you are observing yourself making the decision in. How are you talking to yourself about the way you move through your life? Are you loving the way you make decisions? Are you honoring the way that you explore and figure out and gain clarity? Or are you judging that? Or are you in fear of that? These are some powerful questions to consider. Thank you for joining us today in another powerful episode of the Rebel Haven podcast. As always, if this has served you, please share it out. We'll talk to you again really soon.